In the early 1970s, Lombardo purchased a large property in the Margaret River region, which was to indulge his latent passion for standardbred breeding. Notable Farms was born. A decade later, Lombardo acquired land in Shepparton, Victoria, and established Concord Park, where his very first stud stallion was the Great Northern Lights. By the late 1990s, he had nearly 100 broodmares under his care, with a policy of keeping most of the best-bred fillies for racing and then breeding, whilst selling the colts. This system produced results so startling, it reshaped the face of Australian harness racing. Of 1,440 foals born, over two-thirds have raced and nearly half have won. In fact, between them, these horses have won over 4,000 races and well over $30 million in stakes, wearing the red Maltese cross on a white background, an international symbol for the best and safest of ships. And there have been champions, especially of the 2- and 3-year-old divisions, although several of Lombardo's best have gone on to lengthy and amazing careers at Grand Circuit level. The greatest of these was TaylorMade Lombo, who won the 1997 Australian Pacing Gold at 2 and was National 2-year-old Filly of the Year. At 3, she won the APG again and much more, including the Australian Derby, Australian Oaks, and the WA and Victorian Oaks. She was both National 3-year-old Filly of the Year and overall National 3-year-old Pacer of the Year. As an older horse, she went on to win 3 Grand Circuit races, the Tasmanian Pacing Championship twice and Queensland Pacing Championship. She also won 2 Ladyship Miles and 2 Victorian 4- and 5-year-old championships, amongst a bevy of successes. TaylorMade Lombo was, quite simply, one of Australia's greatest ever female pacers. Twice named National Aged Pacing Mare of the Year after she turned 4. When she retired, she was also awarded a National Broodmare of the Year title. Her progeny featured numerous stakes winners, headlined by Aussie-made Lombo, who earned nearly $580,000 in prize money. Lombo Pocket Watch, one of the rare colts that raced for Lombardo, was without doubt the best performed 2- and 3-year-old in Australian history. The picturesque grey by Jetlag won a record 17 races at 2 in 2005-06. As a juvenile, his victories included the Australian Pacing Gold, Australasian Breeders' Crown, Vic Bred Super Series, Bathurst Gold Crown, and still 3 other classics. Lombo Pocket Watch is the only horse in history to be named Australian Harness Horse of the Year as a 2-year-old. And he didn't slow down at 3. The APG again fell to the amazing colt, as did the Vic Bred Super Series, the Vic Sires Classic, and the Australian, Tasmanian, and Victorian Derbies. He won 12 races as a 3-year-old. At 4, Lombo Pocket Watch took out the Golden Nugget in Perth, and in total won 45 races and in excess of $1.5 million in stakes. Lombo Rapido was another multiple big race winner at 2 and 3. At 4, she won a Chariots of Fire in Sydney, and at 5, the Queensland 4- and 5-year-old Championship. Concord Lombo won the APG in 1997 at 3, and a Victorian and WA Oaks, as well as the Vic Bred Super Sires. Later, as a 5-year-old, she won races such as the Ladyship Cup in Melbourne and an Easter Cup in Tasmania. There have been many others, but overall Mick Lombardo's horses have won 30 Group 1 races and 25 National Horse of the Year awards in their respective categories. Mick Lombardo's service to harness racing off the track is just as impressive. A WATA committee man for 12 years and president for 3, he subsequently spent 6 years on the Australian Harness Racing Council and was chairman for 2 years. He also represented Australia at the World Trotting Conference in Norway in 2009. He is both a life member of that body and of the WATA, now Gloucester Park Harness Racing. In 2001, Mick Lombardo was honoured with a National Distinguished Service Award from the AHRC, and in 2015 he became just the 8th person to be presented with Australian Harness Racing's Elite J.P. Stratton Award. Prior to that, in 2011, and quite uniquely, Mick Lombardo was awarded an Order of Australia Medal for his remarkable and long-standing contribution to the harness racing industry as a breeder, owner and administrator.